Hi everyone, so I'm redoing a video that I just previously made about 𝕤𝕤𝕣𝕕 because I wanted to incorporate a story time, but back then it just made me uncomfortable, mainly because it has to do with my personal life and it feels really weird talking about relationships and anything relating to that online. But I was like, you know what, whatever, like I'm just gonna say it because I know this will help someone else on their journey, and I really want to help people on this channel any way I can on their own spiritual journey when it comes to healing and just basically connecting to your higher self and living your best life. So back to, I guess you could say, a karmic situation I was in. I was in a karmic relationship. This was a while back. And it was not bad. There was nothing bad. Like there was no abuse or anything like that. But it was definitely a karmic relationship. I mean, all the signs were there. We did love each other very much, but there was definitely an energy imbalance. I mean, I don't want to say too much because it's just kind of weird to say, but like basically, like if you're a very energetically sensitive person, you're a spiritual person, when it's a karmic. And they could be a wonderful person, they could be a great person, but there's just something there that's trying to like push you two apart. There's like a missing link there. I don't even know how else to describe it other than that. So it was during that time that I became very drawn to 𝕤𝕤𝕣𝕕. I was very much, I kept watching videos on it. I became obsessed with it, but I'd never actually owned a piece. But it was during that relationship that I bought my first piece of 𝕤𝕤𝕣𝕕. It was awesome. It was great. It was intense, but I mean, I started off wearing it, which was so foolish because I was not grounded. You need to be pretty grounded when it comes to that stone. Yeah, so I started wearing it, and I noticed during that relationship that it made me feel very sick and it caused my chakras to become very blocked. So I eventually just got sick of it, and I put it away in my altar and completely forgot about it. Now, fast forward, I decide to end the relationship because it pretty much ran its course. Things weren't getting any better, and I decided to end it. And, no bad blood between us. I have nothing bad to say about them. They've never said anything bad about me, and things just ended. And for a couple years, I just moved on with my life, and they moved on with theirs. And I randomly just remembered my 𝕤𝕤𝕣𝕕, and this was like 2 years after the breakup. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to meditate with it again. I haven't used it in a while, and I want to see what happens. And lo and behold, I had some of the most intense meditations of my life when I reintroduced it into my life. Now, it was during this time that I started to think about this person from my past, like the karmic relationship. And I remember messaging them, and I said, oh, have you found someone? Like, have you started seeing someone? And they're like, yeah, I found someone. They're great, this and this. And to be honest, I was completely over it. Like I said, we had both moved on. And it felt like I thought I was over it. I was not in love with this person anymore. Although I still cared for them, but I wasn't in love anymore. And I remember when I received that message, I just started bawling my eyes out. I'm not somebody who cries. I'm not somebody I am very sensitive. I am, I don't know if I could say I'm emotional if I don't really cry, but I don't really cry. And going back to childhood, I learned to just kind of stuff my emotions down and not really cry. So when I found out that information, I just started bawling my eyes out. Thankfully, this happened over a weekend, so I could just kind of cry off and on and let things, feel those emotions that I needed to come out. But yeah, it was crazy. And the crazy thing was that I actually felt the energy cords being released. And every time I'd have like a cry, every time I'd just like lay down and just start bawling my eyes out, I'd feel energy being released in my heart and in my sacral. And it was very, very intense. But the weird thing was that after those 2 days, I was fine. I was like, I'm happy for them. Why am I feeling this? But I didn't realize that a part of me was still holding on to it, even though I, thought I moved on. I thought, not that I was dating anyone, but I was happy with how life had went at that point, and I thought things were great, but I didn't realize that a part of me was actually holding on to it energetically. So I didn't do any cord cutting ritual, although I've always done cleansing baths and whatnot. I started doing those in that relationship, and especially after the relationship ended, but nothing compared to doing a meditation with the Moldavite and it just like saying, nope, this energy is still there and it is not serving you. So I say this as someone on the twin flame journey, but this is really for anyone that I feel like, maybe you have past relationships you might need to, I guess you could say, detach from, that you might have not realized that you were still holding on to, or just, anyone who's spiritual, anyone who's spiritually, energetically sensitive definitely needs this stone. However, I will say that Moldavite doesn't play. And I said this in my last video, where other crystals kind of help you to find your way, find your journey, add light when you need it. Moldavite kicks the doors down. If something does not serve you, it is going to take it out of your life. I've heard different stories when it comes to Moldavite. I've heard of people being laid off, losing their jobs, something happening, so they have to move. And you can see it as good or bad, depending on, I guess you could say, your perception of life. I see it as good, especially at this point in my journey where I understand and I accept why certain things happen the way they do. And every time something has happened where I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. This is the worst feeling. I don't like this. Like, I wish it wasn't happening this way. It has always turned out for my best good. So you have to, I don't want to say you don't have to do anything. You don't have to get Moldavite. You don't have to do anything that I say on this channel. I'm just here as a guide. And I personally believe that every person that is at a point in their life, a point in their spiritual journey where they have accepted and understand the ways of the universe and how things that we may want isn't necessarily for our greatest good, and that Moldavite will highlight that. Okay, and it's going to move those things out of the way, because even though like I said, I was over the relationship, I wasn't in love anymore, there was still an energetic cord there. There was still a part of me that was holding on, and I was completely unaware of it. And it was after that cord completely detached, or the energy, whatever, that a huge shift happened in my life that needed to happen, because I didn't realize I was still stuck in certain ways. And then after that shift happened, I was like, so many strange synchronicities happened the next day, the following day, the next week. Like, it was really crazy. So I personally love Moldavite. I love it. It changed my life, and I hope it continues to change my life as I get older and wiser, hopefully. And I highly recommend, if you're on the twin flame journey and you're the divine feminine, definitely get a Moldavite and start meditating with it. I cannot wear it all the time, personally. I know some people that do. I know some people that can wear 3 or 4 at one time and they love it. But personally, I get the same benefits just from meditating with it at night. So wear it at your own risk. I suggest that you start with meditation. Just get used to the energy. Don't jump in too fast with with wearing it all the time. That's what I believe. But if you're on the twin flame journey, I highly recommend it, because it definitely catapulted me on my journey. It definitely, helped me get into alignment. I don't want to say it'll happen faster, because things will happen the way that they're meant to. I was meant to have Moldavite in my life, and I was meant to remember that I had Moldavite and to use it when I was doing my nightly meditations. So if you feel called to it, if you've been thinking about it, this is definitely your sign to get it. And I would love to hear your stories about it after you've gotten it and meditated with it and hopefully accepted that it's made changes in your life. Because I also wanted to mention, this is the last point. I know this is kind of dragging on, but I know that people that are on the twin flame journey can definitely handle it. And why I believe that is because the twin flame journey is intense as itself. And I know a lot of divine feminines on here, from comments I've seen on other videos, are really struggle on this journey, still obsessing over their twin and feeling like they're stuck or unsure of where to go, things that are holding them back. And this stone will definitely show you what is holding you back, how to get into alignment, and what you need to do on your journey. What needs to go, what needs to stay, what needs to change. I highly, highly recommend this stone. I don't own any shares in it, by the way. It's not like I'm I don't get money for like any sale that any seller makes. I just personally love moldavite. It's changed my life for the better. And if you are a spiritual person, I highly, highly recommend you get the stone. And if you're on the twin flame journey, definitely. So I think that's it for this video. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to leave a comment if you guys have experience with moldavite. So that is it. Take care.